guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel, Megz Moviez, and we finally reached the end of the week, so I'm now going to bring back my Megz Moviez weekly watches. So let's get into it. Okay, so Megz Moviez weekly watches, if you are new to this channel, hello by the way. It used to be that I talked about the films that I watched throughout the week. Now, bearing in mind, I can actually get quite a few films watched. Plus, I'm also saving up for a holiday. So I figured since I won't be doing massive amounts of Blu-ray hauls, obviously I might do one or two here or there, depends on if I get enough worthy of a Blu-ray haul. I figured, why not change things up on Megz Moviez weekly watches? So instead, what I'll be showing you today is the films that I have watched in the past that I have rewatched this week. Anything new that I watched for the first time, like X and a couple of other things, they will be at the end of the month in a brand new series I'll be calling First Time Watches. So that'll be at the end of the month, at the end of November. You'll see my thoughts on all the brand new films or even classic films that I haven't seen before for the first time. That'll be then. So for right now, we're talking about the films I have seen before. So let's get into it. It's in no particular order. If you want to see what I'm watching every single day, I do post them on my Letterboxd, so I like to keep track. It's a very good app if you're someone like me that watches a lot of movies and you want to keep track of what you've watched. And also it helps when it creates lists for you as well, so you can, like for me, for example, I've managed to get my Lion King ranking sorted for when I post it next week. And it's because I've got it on Letterboxd as a list. So yeah, Letterboxd is very handy. This is not sponsored by Letterboxd or anything like that. I just love it. It's a very good app. So yeah, so let's get into it. So I'm just going to move to the side because there's one film that I watched that was on streaming that I have seen before, but obviously because I don't have it here, can't show you. Okay, so the film I watched on streaming that I have seen before, that I watched this week, is Werewolf by Night. So for me, I did watch this once before. I was supposed to do a review for it, but to be honest, at the time, I was on a break and I just didn't get a chance to. Werewolf by Night. Small Marvel film. It's one of those special presentation things that they're trialling out. It's decent. I was quite surprised that I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I was going to. It's werewolves. It's Marvel. It's a short presentation thing. You'd think I'd be over the moon. I only found it decent. I found it okay. I felt the beginning was a little bit slow. To be honest, I think it only really picked up for me when the werewolf actually showed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the plot. I thought it was a very good plot and it had some good characters in it, but for some reason, this is like the second time I've watched it, I'm struggling with it. You know, it's okay. I really want to love it, but for me, I think it's just going to stay as a decent watch. It's not going to be anything extravagant for me, but you never know. Maybe a few more rewatches, I might start to love it, but for right now, I'm very 50-50 on it. Okay, so let's get on to the physical media ones I've watched. So, like I said, these are in no particular order. So, starting with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Try saying that 10 times fast. I watched all 3 of these movies. I'm not going to talk about the third one because the third one was a first time watch. So that will be at the end of the month. So I'm just going to be talking about the first one and the second one. So the first one, an absolute classic for me. I grew up with this film. This is one of my favourite childhood films of all time. That movie got me into the Turtles in general. So every time there was when there was another movie, I was like, oh, have to watch it, you know. Like even the live action remakes and the animated one we got. But no, it's fun. It's a classic. It's the 90s. Who doesn't love a 90s movie? It's the nostalgia, isn't it? But no, I love this film. My favourite character is Michelangelo. I resonate with Michelangelo. But I like all the characters in this. Casey Jones, April O'Neil. I love the actors that play them. I liked Shredder. I feel like this Shredder was better than the remake Shredder we got. And also I liked Splinter. Splinter was so different in the remake. I didn't like him in the remake. So it was nice to go back to a classic and something I haven't watched for quite some time. Then, of course, I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. So this one, I feel like it's very underrated. In the sense of not many people talk about the second one because it's sort of like overshot by how good the first one was and how the third one was to people. But I find it enjoyable. It's one of my guilty pleasure films. You know, it's just like one of those, you know, not many people have heard of it or not many people have enjoyed it, but you enjoy it, you know. So it's one of my guilty pleasures. I enjoy the sequel. I like the new April O'Neil, but I think because I watched the first one quite a lot growing up, more than the second one, I really do miss the actress that played April, and Casey wasn't in this one, which I was a bit gutted about because I did like his character in the first one. But no, Secret of the Ooze is an absolutely amazing film. It's one of those sequels that's like, it's a cheesy sequel, and they up the comedy a bit. I mean, the opening scene alone is just so funny. But no, I love the Turtles, and then at the end of the month, you'll hear my thoughts on the third one. Okay, and then I watched all of the Lion Kings for the simple fact of I was doing an original versus remake of the Lion King, and I figured why not watch the rest of the franchise so I could do a ranking next week. So starting with the remake that I have on the top here. If you watch my original versus remake video, you know my thoughts on this, so I'll give it briefly. It's okay. You know, I don't think it's an absolutely terrible movie. Yes, it's pretty much a shot-for-shot film of the original, but I think what they've done with it, it was okay. Like, I have seen a lot worse films than this. I know a lot of people do not enjoy this one, but this is one I wouldn't mind going back to be honest. It would only probably be during a Lion King marathon, though. But if I was to think, oh, I feel like watching a Lion King film, it was probably the first or the second one or the third one that I go to over this one. Okay, and then we're on to the trilogy. So the very first Lion King, everyone knows this. This is an absolute classic. This is one of Disney's best films. It's so beautifully animated. The characters are amazing. The voice actors they picked for the characters were amazing. I mean, Jeremy Irons as Scar. Love him. He's just the best. He's the best villain. I love it. He has the best song as well. Be Prepared. Oh, those songs hit so hard. But no, this is very beautiful, and I didn't realise until a few years ago that this was based on Hamlet. Yeah, a Disney movie based on Hamlet. But no, and also it's got this one of the saddest Disney moments of all time in this film. And it just gives off so many emotions. It's happy emotions, sad emotions, funny emotions, angry emotions. You know, it's a mix. And seriously, if you have not watched this, do give it a go. Okay, now on to Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. What can I say? I actually really enjoy the sequel. It's so close to being as good as the first. Honestly, I don't think anything will beat the first. But this was a good sequel. I mean, I like the fact that this time I believe it's based around the Romeo and Juliet story of Shakespeare. They like to keep things in the family, don't they? But no, I like this one. The story is quite fun. You got Mufasa? You've got Simba, who's now ruling the Plylands, and apparently there's these lions called the Outsiders, and Simba's kid ends up meeting Kofu, who's this young lion that everyone wants to become Scar, even though he's not Scar's son. And it's just basically, it's basically Romeo and Juliet, just with lions. But they pretty much brought back all the same actors back to voice the main characters that were returning. I like the new characters as well. The songs on this one hit just as hard as they did in the first one. I mean, We Are One, sung by Simba to his kid Kiara. Lovely song. Not One of Us, such a weird, like a good song, but it's just one of those ones where it's like, it's talking about making Kofu an outsider, so it's just like, it's quite a shocking one. And then the villain song, My Lullaby, oh my god, that's good. Not good as Be Prepared, but it's close. So yeah, and of course Timon and Pumbaa. Oh my god, I love Timon and Pumbaa. They are like my favourite in this franchise. But yeah, this is definitely one I recommend giving a watch. This is one of the straight to Disney DVDs movies that I think is worth a watch. And then we go on to Lion King 3, or as some places call it, Lion King 1.5. So if you haven't seen this one, because I don't think many people have, or at least in my eyes, I think it's very underrated because a lot of people did not enjoy this one. This is a meta film. It's basically Timon and Pumbaa go through the whole Lion King story and make out that they were there the entire time, but you didn't notice. Which I enjoyed. This is one of my guilty pleasures, and I feel like this is very underrated because people obviously, when it comes to the straight to Disney DVDs, a lot of them weren't that good. So I think in everybody's mind, it was a case of, oh no, not going back to that. I'd quite happily go back to this. Yes, the songs do not hit as well as the first two soundtracks, but there's some fun songs in here. They also brought back the original voice actors for the characters as well. Even the hyenas, they brought back Whoopi Goldberg, and I can't remember the guy that played Ed. Is it Ed? I can't remember. But no, I think this is very fun. And I love it when movies are all meta. When it's just like a movie within a movie, but then it's the characters explaining how they were in the situation in the first place. Seriously, this is so funny. And I think even if you just watch it the once, I think you'll enjoy it. And then rounding up the films I watched that I've seen before. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yes, I am getting into the Christmas spirit early. What can I say? Yes, this has to be the first Christmas movie I watch every single year. So not only was I in the mood for a Christmas film, but also I wanted to watch that film Falling for Christmas, which I will be doing a review at some point on my channel. Just not sure when. I just need to find the time. I have got a week off coming up, so it might be going up then. But yes, so I had to watch this beforehand because this is a tradition of mine. It has to be the first Christmas film, no matter what. Even with the new Santa Claus TV show coming out, I would have watched this before I watched the trilogy of films, before I watched the show. So this is one of my favourite films of all time, man. This is one of my favourite Christmas movies of all time. I just love it. I love it when a movie can make what would be a child's story into something a bit more adult, so it's for everybody. So the adults will get the adult jokes and the humour, whereas the kids will like seeing the Grinch and the dog, Max and the kid, and you know, so I like the fact that this is very 50-50. I know this is not everybody's favourite, but this is always the top of my watch list for Christmas. Jim Carrey did so well in this role, and the fact that he had to put up with hours of makeup and all that, and he actually did do it, is because he was going to quit. He kept going with it, but I'm so glad he didn't, because this is an epic, well, not epic, it's a fun Christmas movie. Honestly, it's one I always try to watch as many times as I can, whether that's in November, December, whatever. I try and watch it as much as possible. So you might be seeing this pop up quite a bit. So yes, so that is all the movies. I'm just going to quickly say, TV show wise, I'm currently watching iCarly from the very beginning. That's because I want to watch the new show, and I don't really think I watched that many episodes of iCarly in the past. So I'm watching the original before I watch the new one. And then I'm also starting to watch the Marvel shows because I would like to do a Phase 4 ranking by the end of the month. So at the moment I'm watching She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I watched 2 episodes last night. It was decent. It was okay. The CGI could be better, just saying. But no, I found it okay. I don't think it's going to be in like my top of the shows that I've watched. But it is enjoyable at the moment for me. So who knows, maybe by the end of it I might enjoy it more. But for right now, I'm just sort of, meh. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this roundup of the movies that I've watched this week. Like I said, the first time watches will be coming at the end of the month. But yeah, I love revisiting films I haven't watched for a while. I mean, like the Lion King franchise, I had not watched in ages. So it was nice to go back to something that I grew up with. Because it's just the nostalgia. I can't help it. I'm always nostalgic for stuff like this. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then do give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button. and also the notification bell down below to be notified when I post. And I'll see you guys in my next one.